And welcome back to Sunday Square Off. It was a stunning stop sign for Arizona developers. The State Water Resources Department has warned more than a dozen Pinal County developments there might not be enough groundwater to support their projects. It is the first time the state has sent such letters. So how worried should we be about long-term water supplies here in Arizona? Dustin Gardner of the Arizona Republic broke that story. He joins us now to tell us all about it. Welcome to Square Off.
Thank you.
First, give us the big picture. Most folks don't think about groundwater all that much. Why does it matter so much in a place like Pinal County and other rural areas?
Yeah, so in the Pinal area, development has been reliant on groundwater for a long time. In the Phoenix and Tucson metro areas, we're less reliant on that because we have surface water like Colorado River water. But in Pinal, they're reliant on groundwater, and according to the state's modeling, there is not enough groundwater to support some new development if they look out 100 years, which is the requirement under state law.
So this has been an issue for a while. Why is this the first time the state has issued this kind of warning?
So this is the first time that the state's modeling has shown just a potential groundwater shortage in such a large area. And according to the state, that there might be some tweaking they can do, that the modeling might be a little overly conservative. And there's also concerns that some development was speculative. So there's developers sitting on these groundwater claims essentially and not developing because they were planning these massive developments that kind of fell apart in the housing craze.
So do they really know how much groundwater is down there? Because my understanding is over the last several years with budget cuts to the Department of Water Resources, they really haven't been keeping very good track of that.
Well, I'm not a hydrologist, so I don't know exactly the science of how that works, but I know, they have some pretty sophisticated modeling, and they've been doing this for a long time in certain areas of the state that have these groundwater concerns, and according to their new forecast, that is the concern.
And so how concerned is Governor Doug Ducey, about this kind of information getting out? He's in the midst of negotiating what would be a historic water settlement to ensure water resources for the state for years to come. This isn't good when you're trying to bring business to Arizona, is it?
Right. No, this is exactly what the governor's office and the other stakeholders that are part of his water discussion groups have been wanting to avoid. There's a lot of fear and concerns that this sort of news is bad for the image and marketing of the state when it comes to economic development, especially in places like Pinal County and more sort of outlying areas around the metro area, the Phoenix metro area, that are more dependent on that pumping to fuel new development.
Okay, so state water officials say there's no reason to panic. You mentioned there's maybe an accounting issue with the water. That's what the developer's lawyer says too. But given everything you've reported, everything you've learned, how concerned should all of us in other areas of the state be that this is a looming problem?
Right. So, the state has said that, that there is that modeling issue, and there's an issue with some housing projects sitting on like these speculative, development plans that they're sort of sitting on a lot of that water claim. But on the flip side of that, I've talked to a lot of water experts who feel like this is sort of a canary in the coal mine for the state, because there are areas that are really reliant on groundwater pumping, and they're saying that areas like Pinal need to think long-term about what their renewable supply is going to be. How are they going to get access to surface water or some other renewable supply instead of relying on pumping aquifers to fuel massive growth? So
canary in the coal mine, that's what this Pinal County story is all about when it comes to future water.
Some certainly see it that way.
Okay,
yeah.
And will these projects ultimately go ahead?
I think county officials and state officials are confident that they can make adjustments to allow these developments to go forward. In the meantime, there's about at least 15 at this point that are sort of in this state of limbo. But there is, still that very pressing long-term concern of what do we do about groundwater pumping, and can we continue to have massive development in these areas that are just dependent on aquifers, which can run out if they're not replenished enough.
All right, good note to end on. Dustin Gardner, thanks so much for joining us. Great reporting.
Thanks.